Hey guys, this is me, Kevin Murphy, on my channel called Narcissistic Abuse, Learning Who I Am Again. This weather is incredible. It is almost 80 degrees at the end of February, and I had my air conditioner going earlier, and I'm wearing flip-flops today too. So this weather is incredible. It's too bad it's not going to last, but I'm really enjoying this afternoon and just being out and about, doing things like I got my car washed and got my hair cut and all that other fun stuff. So this video is going to be part two of hoovering. So the last video kind of cut out because I ran out of space on my phone. So I'm making a part two of what I was talking about. So I think I left off on how I learned a lot about hoovering from a YouTuber called Narcissism Survivor. And he was one of the first people that I watched on YouTube about narcissistic abuse recovery and so on and so forth. Um, One of the things that I also thought about the last couple of days is during the hoovering process, the narcissist will try to convince you that they've changed. They'll try to convince you to give them another chance. They'll say things like, "Oh, I've been in." The narcissist will even say, "I've been going to therapy. I've been, I've found Jesus." They'll do anything to try to get you to hook back into a relationship with them. And if you find that you are being hoovered in by a narcissist in that way, you still stay the course, because you going back to the narcissist for any reason at all, you're doomed for setback. You're doomed for re-traumatization and going backwards in your recovery. So the best thing to do, if the narcissist says that they've changed, awesome. I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you've changed, but there's nothing here for us. If you've changed, if you truly change, then you need to move on, and you wish them well, and you go about your merry way. But that's why I said in part one that is very important to really go no contact with your narcissist. That example is if you happen to run into them and they try to do the hoovering face to face or something like that. Then that's when you just say, good for you. I'm glad that you're changing. I'm glad that you're going to therapy. I'm glad that you found God and that you became a Christian and you got saved and you had this radical revelation. That's all well and dandy, but I would just move on. I would say, thank you for letting me know. Thank you for updating me on how you're doing, and I would just move on. And if that narcissist is bold enough to ask, is there any hope between the two of us? I would directly say, no. I mean, I've moved on, and since you've changed, I would suggest you move on, and I would greet them with I'll talk to you later, deuces, whatever it is that you need to say to get rid of that narcissist in the moment. But I would never go back to that situation. The narcissist will try to dangle that carrot. It's like I talked about in other videos about that carrot, and tell you that, oh, I've changed, and I realized that I was wrong and all this other stuff, and that's a trick. If they've changed, if they're different, if they got this epiphany that they've wronged you and things like that, and they apologize to you, you accept their apology, you forgive them, but you do not go back to them, because they're going to try to find a way to go back to you, and that's because their new supply is no longer reinforcing their behavior. Their new supply has either caught on to the behavior, or the new supply is no fun to them anymore. So don't become that backup supply. Don't become that back burner supply, or that old flame, or anything like that, because you're more worth it than that. You're more important than just being an old flame. You're more important than just being the side piece or the backup supply when the new supply is out of town, or the new supply is has found out about the narcissist or anything like that. Get that narcissist out of your life. Period. Period. Get them out of your life. If they changed, great. If they haven't, that's even better. But get them out of your life. Because I say, the reason why I say if they haven't changed, it's even better, because now you don't feel as guilty for letting the narcissist go. You don't feel as bad if the narcissist was the one that discarded you, because they haven't changed. They're still the same. But if they have changed, which most narcissistic people don't, but if they changed and they have gotten the light and they have got this revelation or this bigger picture, then I would wish them well. I would say, I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you've changed. I gotta go. I'll see you later. That kind of deal. But I would not fall for them using that as a way to get you back. Other ways that the narcissist will try to hoover you in is if they have your address, they might write you a letter. They might even randomly show up at your door. I wouldn't answer the door. I would tell them to go away. If this narcissist is known to be a stalker or have a history of just showing up at your doorstep, I would contact local authorities and get a restraining order and have that narcissist arrested if they continue to harass you in that way, because that is harassment. When the narcissist comes to your doorstep and demands to speak to you and demands that you give them a chance and gives you an ultimatum, and demands that you give them a chance, that's harassment. That's stalking. And that's something you should never put up with. So if that is happening to you, and that narcissist knows where you live, and they're trying to climb through your window or tap at your window pane or kind of bang at your door and things like that, and you don't want them to be doing that, you need to contact your local authorities, and you need to tell the police that, look, I broke up with this person, I broke up with this guy or gal, they have no business at my property, at my door, at my window, or anything like that, and let them take care of it. If you have to get a restraining order, get a restraining order. If you have to go to court, go to court. Hoping that it doesn't get that far. If that narcissist, that's just in case that narcissist continues and feels that, oh, if the more persistent I am, then he or she will break. Because the hoovering process, the narcissist will do anything they can to get you sucked back in, especially if that new supply is no longer available or no longer of use to them. They will do anything in their power to try to get you to conform back and, to put you back in your place. And hoovering can take place in excessive phone calls, which, like I said, suggest you block them on phone calls, suggest you block them on social media. If you can't move, or if the narcissist knows where you are, I would notify the police. I would tell the police that this is what's going on. I just broke up with this narcissist. You don't have to tell the police that they're a narcissist, but you just tell the police, this is my ex. He or she is stalking me. He or she keeps, coming to my doorstep. I don't wish to talk to this person, and you go from there. But I would not fall for the Hoover. I would not fall for the please baby please Barry White deal. I wouldn't fall for that. I would just cut my losses. I would just use this period to grieve, and use this time to recognize that this person is not who I fell in love with. I fell in love with the illusion of who this person could have been, or who I wanted this person to be. But I did not fall in love with this person, the narcissist. I fell in love with who my ideal was. I fell in love with the person I wanted to be with. That's who you fell in love with. You did not fall in love with this narcissistic person. So I would use this time to get yourself together, I would use this time to really focus on your healing and focus on your journey. It's you're gonna find yourself at times missing the narcissist. You're gonna find yourself at times missing some of your interactions with the narcissist, even though it was toxic, even though the relationship is toxic, you're gonna find yourself missing that narcissist. I mean, I've been there. I think we've all been there, where we have to some degree miss that narcissist because of the soul tie that we develop with them. So when you are feeling that way and the hoovering happens, it's very important to really contact someone in your support group. You need to build a strong support network of people who understand or know a little bit about narcissistic abuse. And if you have to call them in the middle of the night, or you have to journal or do whatever, you have to reach out to somebody. Or for me, if I can't reach out to someone, I pray. I journal. And I pray mostly. And I ask God to give me the strength to let go of this person. I ask God to give me the strength to not answer that phone call, or to not call them, because there's times where the narcissist doesn't even have to hoover us, and we start feeling a sense of loss, and we start feeling sorry for ourselves, to where we're contacting them, wanting to reconcile with the narcissist, the very person that abused us. So that's why it's very important to stay on your recovery. And I'm not going to lie, it's going to suck sometimes. It's going to feel very, 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 very hard, because it's getting over narcissistic abuse syndrome, and getting over the narcissist is almost like getting over a drug. It's almost like because you're no longer in touch with that person anymore. And this person you've developed such a close bond, an unhealthy bond, but such a close bond with them, that it's just, you feel in your soul you can't live without them. So it's very important to stay connected to God in this recovery. I said this in another video, that for me, if it wasn't for God, I would not be as far along on my recovery as I am. And a lot of people on this, a lot of people on other channels, and maybe you viewers, don't necessarily have a relationship with God. But this video is not to convert you in any kind of way to believe what I believe, but my recovery has been so much better when I've allowed God to join in the process with me. When I have allowed God to really ride the waves of the depression, the unhappiness, the withdrawals, everything. I didn't feel like I was alone anymore. I actually felt like I had somebody riding these waves with me. So it's important to know that without God, I would not be as far along as I am. If anything, I probably would be in another narcissistic relationship or another narcissistic friendship, and I wouldn't be doing these YouTube videos, and I wouldn't be trying to coach and help other people recover from such horrific abuse. So I would suggest just really pressing in. Even if it seems bleak, trust me, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Because this time, I would say this time last year or 2 years ago, I just felt like there was no way out. But there is way out, but you have to be the one to really want the help. You have to be the one to want to recover from narcissistic abuse more than anybody else, more than your partner, more than your parents, more than your friends, more than your support group, more than your counselor, your therapist, whoever is in your circle that is helping you through this. You have to want this recovery more than any of them. So this is part 2 of hoovering. I'm not sure when I'll be back on here again. There's a possibility I might be back on here tomorrow. I might be back on here again on Friday. But I hope that if any of you viewers are on the East Coast, please, I beg you to enjoy this beautiful spring-like weather. I mean, it's hard to believe that it's almost 80 degrees in February. So please stay tuned for more videos. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you have any requests or any questions on any topics or that come up in your life or anything that I've been discussing, please feel free to email me at kevinmurphy28@yahoo.com. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.